during the last 5 years of me working here at Nomad Capitalist, I have worked with a number of people, different clients, and kind of dealt with a lot of different misconceptions that we had to go through and basically debunk. One of the most common ones that is often kind of misinterpreted are the golden visas and what they are actually compared to citizenship by investment. So if you're somebody who is still not sure whether a golden visa or citizenship by investment is the right fit for you and you want to hear more about it, then definitely this video is something that can help you with that. My name is Jelena. I'm a strategy manager here at Nomad Capitalist, and we help 7- and 8-figure entrepreneurs go where they traded best. Now, many of you have probably heard about golden visas and that they are most commonly seen in Europe. So they're kind of specific to the European Union, and there are many European countries with these options. When you look outside of Europe, there are additional countries that call their programs golden visas. And usually what they mean by that is residence by investment. Now, when comparing citizenship by investment and residence by investment or golden visas, number one difference that kind of comes there is, first of all, golden visas are simple paper residencies. Now, that means that's a residence that you can obtain through investing in a property or a fund or any other way that the country allows you to or requests you to do so. And in return, you're getting a temporary or a permanent residence, which can lead to a passport, sometimes through living there fully, let's say for a number of years, and sometimes with no physical presence, depending on the country. On the contrary, citizenship by investment, as the name itself says, is pure citizenship, where you can either invest or donate money. Most commonly, you donate the money in order to get a passport in a couple of months. So usually these processes for getting a passport through investment or donation last less than a year, with the exception of Malta, which takes 18 months. But they get you immediate citizenship. There's no physical presence requirement. There are no language tests. You don't need to learn another language. You don't need to pass a test on history or culture. You're simply paying a certain amount of money and you're getting a passport in return. So for golden visas, usually are required to invest your money, where you get a certain ROI on that investment and you get a residence permit in return. So you're kind of getting a 2-in-1 in that situation, where you're not losing your money, but you're also getting a residence that can lead you to a passport. Now, this residence permit, whether permanent or temporary, allows you to live full-time in that country, allows you to work in that country, and eventually naturalize. Now, as I mentioned, how long it will take you to get to naturalization and a passport will depend on the country, and the amount that you need to invest also depends on the country. But some of the cheapest golden visas, especially in Europe, start from 250,000 euros and go up to 1 million or even more in some countries. Now, with these golden visas, you get the opportunity to work towards a passport, but you don't have to. You can simply stay on the residence visa. But if you decide to go towards a passport, you usually will have to learn a language, you would have to pass a test. So in most cases, when you're comparing citizenship by investment with golden visas, it's basically a trade-off. You're either going to invest your money in and get a passport quick and easy, or you're going to invest your time, spend some time and get to a passport after a number of years. So as I mentioned, there are different requirements for the golden visas, and they largely depend on the country that you're interested in. Some countries allow you to invest in real estate. Some of them request you to invest in startup companies or funds or similar. And the investment amount starts at 250,000 euros. And that's just the investment. And on top of that, you have government and legal fees, which can additionally add up to the cost. As opposed to that, you have citizenship by investments or donations, where the cheapest one starts at 100,000 US dollars for a single person. Now here, the difficulty is that the more people you add onto your application, the higher the donation amount is. Depending on who you're adding, a spouse, underage child, or a child over 18, based on all those factors will depend what the amount of donation would be. As opposed to that, golden visas usually do not require additional amounts for investment with each additional dependent. So for example, if you want to apply with a family of 6 in Portugal and invest in a fund, the investment requirement will still be €500,000, and that amount will not change no matter how many dependents are coming with you. However, legal and government fees will definitely change, and there will definitely be additional legal and government fees for each and every dependent. Now, when you're debating whether you want to get a golden visa or you want to go towards a passport immediately, one of the things that you have to be aware of is that those two things, temporary or permanent residence and citizenship, are definitely different. So if we were ranking your status in a certain country, for example, tourist is the weakest status that you can have. It just simply means visiting a certain country for a number of days and you are required to exit. Then we have temporary residence, which gives you the right to live and work in a certain country with the requirement of usually annual renewals. So that can be a bit of a hassle. Then after that, on the list, you have permanent residence. That gives you, again, the right to work and live in a country, but you either have to renew that every 5 years or 10 years, depending on the country, or in some cases, even 20 years in certain countries. And then lastly, the strongest foothold that you can possibly have in a certain country is if you have citizenship of that country. So if you're a citizen of a certain country, they cannot deny you access to the country. You will have the right to vote. You will have the right to fully live there. In some cases, you will have the right to kind of transfer that citizenship to your children or some of your descendants, depending on the situation. So by far, having a citizenship in a certain country is the strongest position that you can have in that country. So if you're somebody who's worried about freedom, if you're somebody who's worried about having access to different places, citizenship might be the better way to go for you. But if you're somebody just who plans on staying in their country, you want to have a plan B that can potentially lead you to a passport, or that can just simply provide you a safety net, a place that you can go to if you decide to leave, or in case things go crazy in your home country and you want to leave immediately, then a golden visa or another type of residence by investment may be a better fit for you, where you will not have a sunk cost. Basically, you will invest your money, you will not donate it, and you can get your money back. So as I mentioned, golden visas are usually the most popular in Europe. So some of the most popular ones are definitely Portuguese golden visa, which recently kind of rearranged their requirements and, let's say, reopened again. And then you have the Spanish golden visa, you have Italy golden visa, Greece, Latvia, and outside of European Union, something that's very interesting and a very, right now, affordable option is the UAE golden visa. Outside of golden visas, when we're talking about citizenships, there is only kind of a handful of countries that allow citizenship by investment. As some of you may know, that's Malta in Europe, that's Dominica, St. Kitts, St. Lucia, Antigua, Grenada, and Turkey, to name some. There are some additional ones which, in our opinion, are not that good. They're usually overpriced, like Cambodia. Vanuatu is definitely not a great one. Egypt is not a great one as well, based on accessibility and visa-free travel. So in kind of when you look at it from that perspective, there's definitely only a handful of countries that will allow you to get a passport through donation or investment. And based on our experience, that pool is becoming even smaller. So if you are interested in getting these options, it is definitely better to start sooner rather than later. And if you don't know where to start, here at Nomad Capitalist, we helped dozens of people get a golden visa or get a passport quickly and before they disappear.